Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, then please don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that you don't have to miss on any of our interesting videos, and make sure to be part of the commenter squad by sharing your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now in this video, we're taking a look into the powerful stories of palm color women who voted for Trump and are now facing the consequences of that decision. Now, one of them, a federal worker, reveals how her world came crashing down when she found out that she was being laid off. A heartbreaking moment she shared with a friend on the phone. Now, with the pain of unemployment, regret, and a deep sense of betrayal, they are speaking out. Now, many of these voters once supported policies like mass deportations, but now they are questioning the very choices that have left them and those they care about facing hardship. Now, these women voted in favor of mass deportations, thinking it would somehow benefit their communities, but now they're the ones facing the consequences: job losses, broken lives, and shattered dreams. Now, as we listen to their stories, it's very clear that they underestimated the devastating impact of Trump's administration. They thought they were making a statement, but in reality, they were selling their own fate. So with that said, let's take a look at their videos. I will be right back, and when I get back, I share my 2 cents on this.
Well, when we found out that President Trump was running for president again this term, we immediately went out and bought a flag. Hey, if you didn't get the email on Monday, you're safe. And I'm like skipping down the halls, right? And our friends that didn't vote the same, there's always that back and forth conversation now. It's like, you knew this was coming, but we didn't. Like, nobody that I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration in office would do to our lives, but other people that we love and care about too within the Mid-Ohio Valley. Absolutely, I feel a little bit betrayed.
We literally get slapped in the face with no explanation. They fool you a lot. They get in office, they don't do the things they said they was going to do or promise the people.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk and this fictitious entity Doge, this unlawful entity Doge, has any actual interest in rooting out government waste, fraud. They're the only ones committing those things. They are the only ones committing those things.
And Trump just sits there like this. So Elon Musk bought a president. He bought the presidency of the United States, and now he's going to destroy us.
If we knew what we know today and the vote was tomorrow, I don't know what I would do because of my morals, but I just don't think I could do it again. I don't think I could vote for President Trump again.
What was it like for you when you got the news that you were being let go?
It was really hard. I was on the phone with my best friend, Kaylee, at the time, and we were just discussing her life and how things were going. And I looked at my phone and I had gotten a text from our union rep, and he told me that I was going to be fired the next day. And I told her, I have to go. I'm getting fired tomorrow. And my heart just sank, and I had a huge pit in my stomach, and nobody wants to hear that news. It's not something that I'd wish on anyone, and it's something really hard to go through. It's hard from my perspective to approach the current administration with hope. I've been dealing with infertility now for about a year. I've had multiple surgeries in my life. So, going into the voting booth, the main thing on my mind was the same thing I'd been thinking about for the past 11 months. And it was, I want to be a mom. And women who have gone through that experience, that heartbreaking feeling of wanting something that you might never have, they understand how much of your time is taken up with those thoughts and how overwhelming and lonely it can feel. So as someone who is more of a swing voter, sometimes that's what it comes down to, is those single issues.
Riley, do you now regret the way you voted for Trump?
I do feel regret, and I've had a lot of tumultuous thoughts about that day in the election booth. When you're voting on something that affects you so personally, it's really easy to get tunnel vision, especially in a voting booth when you're staring at, you have 2 options, right? I mean, it's not like you're given an endless amount of options to achieve your goals. And so afterwards, when I thought maybe this is my chance, I also had to come to terms with the fact that I was likely going to be a part of, taking chances away from other groups of people. And that's never sat well with me.
Are you hoping to ever return to a job in the federal government or not after this?
I wouldn't do it until, some things have changed, because right now it's a lack of stability. And then also, the emotional impact to me, this really feels like a betrayal in some sense, and that they didn't consider how this impacts people, and especially the 30% of the federal workforce that have served on active duty.
Tell us more about how it feels like a betrayal.
It comes down to what I've already said. I served my country for 11 years, 9 of them on active duty. I deployed twice. I spent so much time away from my family. I was gone when my mom passed away. And I missed that, to serve my country. And I was excited to continue serving in this capacity. And they not only tore that out from under my feet, but couldn't even just grant me a layoff and instead place the blame on me, that it was my performance. And I've gotten nothing but positive reviews on that. So I feel very much like the message is that my service isn't valued. They don't care about how this impacts me or people like me. And to me, it's inhumane. It feels like they're ignoring our personhood and not respecting us as human beings or as American citizens.
All right, it's official. I am being laid off. Just received my preliminary reduction in force notice that I am, what's the word? Notice of recommendation not to reemploy for 2025-2026. You are receiving this notice either because you serve in a particular kind of service that is being reduced or eliminated. So, can someone please just explain to me how the teacher of the year gets laid off? And yes, I am upset. But I think I'm so angry right now that it's going to take me some time to sift through these emotions. I love my students. I always will.
This is not my typical content, but this is something that I need to say. To my fellow Americans, I want to take a moment to acknowledge my mistake and express my deep regret for voting for President Trump. When I cast my vote, I genuinely believed that I was making a choice that would help our country. I believe the promises about lowering inflation, fixing the economy, and putting America first. I thought I was supporting somebody who would bring strength and stability. But now I see that I was misled. I had the wool pulled over my eyes, and I fell for the empty promises instead of looking at the reality of his actions. The truth is, I was naive. I failed to see through the lies, the fear-mongering, and the divisiveness. I ignored the warnings from those who did see this coming. I didn't fully grasp the damage that could have been done, not just to our economy, but to our democracy, to our institutions, and to the very fabric of our society. And now, looking at everything that has happened, I have an overwhelming sense of regret. I am deeply sorry for the part I have played to enabling someone who has caused so much harm. The attack on our democracy, the blatant disregard for the rule of law, and the spreading of misinformation, corruption, and cruelty that has led us all to a darker and more divided space. I can no longer ignore the reality of what has happened under Trump's leadership. I see how he's exploited people's fears, turned Americans against each other, prioritized his own power over the well-being of our nation. To those who have warned me, to those who have suffered under his policies, to those who have fought tirelessly to preserve our democracy, I owe you an apology. I should have listened. I should have done more research, and I should have recognized the signs. I let myself be deceived, and I take full responsibility of that. I also wanted to say that I'm committed to doing better. I won't be fooled again. I will make my future voting decisions based on facts, integrity, and the true needs of our country rather than some political spin. I will listen more, question more, and ensure that I will never allow myself to be swayed by empty promises. Our country deserves better, and I want to be part of the solution rather than the problem. I know that words cannot undo the damage, but I hope that by acknowledging my mistake and taking responsibility, that I can encourage others to reflect as well. We have to learn from this. We have to hold our leaders accountable, and most importantly, we have to come together to heal and rebuild America. One that values truth, justice, and unity. Again, I am truly sorry, and I will do better. We all deserve better. I know I will most likely lose followers and friends, but it is my truth that needed to be heard. And I encourage others to do as well what I have just done. I hope you guys have a blessed day.
You know, I must say that it's truly fascinating and honestly hard for me to believe that some of these women who voted for Trump claim they never saw the fallout of his policies coming. Now, these are people who, in many cases, were fine with the idea of mass deportations and the targeting of marginalized communities because it wasn't affecting them directly. They may have been okay with the suffering of others as long as it stayed away from their doorstep. But now, faced with layoffs and the devastation of their own livelihoods, suddenly, the very policies they supported are hitting too close to home. Now, I find it really hard to believe that they were truly unaware of the implications of this administration's choices. How could they not see the damage being done to others and think it wouldn't eventually come back around? Perhaps it wasn't real to them until it became personal. They didn't mind if it hurt someone else. But now that it's affecting their own lives, the regret and betrayal they feel are unmistakable. It's very easy to empathize with someone going through personal hardships, but what's really striking is the realization that for many of these voters, their initial willingness to overlook the suffering of others is what's led them to this moment of regret. And now they're grappling with the very real consequences of a decision that seemed distant and abstract when it was only about other people. And that's the complexity of what we're seeing now, the disconnect between policy and personal impact. Now, at this point in time, I'm not going to sit here and say we warned you, even if we did, because right now, that's not the point. We're already here. The damage has already been done. It was done, and regret alone isn't going to solve anything. Not for them, not for anyone. Now, I honestly believe that these are the same people who should be stepping up now. Not sitting back in regret, but actually working to make things right. They should be the ones out there protesting, demanding change, and fighting for accountability. It's time to stop waiting on marginalized communities, especially Black people who never asked for this mess in the first place, to do the heavy lifting. Black people didn't push anyone in this situation, yet time and time again, the responsibility falls on Black people to fix it. Now is the moment for those who once supported these policies to channel their regret into action. And it's easy to feel sorry for what's happened, but action is what truly makes a difference. Regret doesn't change anything. Making real efforts to change the system does. And if these people truly care about the future, they need to be part of the solution, not passive bystanders, but active participants in the fight for a better, fairer country. Now, over 62,000 federal workers across February have reportedly been fired by the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency led by Elon Musk. And these firings have included federal employees working in the Defense Department, USAID, CIA, Social Security Administration, Department of Justice, Department of Agriculture, and many others. Now, ironically, many of those fired have been Trump voters, and some are expressing anger about being targeted by the job cuts. And I just want to share what some are saying over this. Let me start with this veteran father who supported Trump but was recently fired from the VA. He says, "I'm a veteran of the Iraq War. After retiring from military service, I worked at the VA, where I put in a lot of hard work and built strong relationships with my colleagues. However, last week, I was told by personal management that I was being fired. I was completely shocked, as I had done nothing wrong. I had supported Trump in the past, but after he took office, I began to notice that many of his policies seemed to target individuals like me, supporters who found themselves laid off. Now I'm in a difficult situation. I have 2 children to support, and I don't even know how to explain this to my wife. It feels unjust, and I'm unsure where to turn to next." I recently saw a post on X about a march on Washington for veterans on March 14. I'm considering joining, as it seems like a way to stand up for those of us who feel unheard. Now, the second one is there's this woman who hung a Trump campaign sign outside her house but was abruptly fired from her civil service job. Now, Jennifer Pigot proudly hung a red and blue Trump campaign flag outside her one-story home during the November election race. Now, after she was abruptly fired from the civil service job, her days of supporting the president are over. Now, Bigot is among more than 125 people dismissed in February from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service in Parkersburg, West Virginia, unsettling a community that voted overwhelmingly for Republican President Donald Trump. Nobody that I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration office would do to our lives, she said. Now, another one is a Gen Z Trump voter who is concerned about the uncertainty of their partner's government job because he's the sole provider. Now, this person says, Gen Z here, my husband works for the government and he had just gotten promoted in August. We don't have buyer's remorse, but we really don't like the uncertainty of him possibly getting fired. He's a good man. He really cares about his job and works really hard. He's one of the most efficient guys there, but he might be punished for wanting to move up the ladder. That I don't like. I don't regret voting for who I did. I just pray that my husband doesn't lose his job as we have a traditional relations and he's our sole provider. Now, a lot of these people are sharing or rather expressing how they feel about this currently, and their change of heart is understandable given the far-reaching consequences of his policies. However, what's really surprising is how they initially thought that these policies would only harm others, not themselves. Many of these individuals have been directly impacted by the president's decisions, such as the threat of tariff changes to healthcare and the dismantling of the Department of Education. Like, it's really ironic that they are now speaking out when their actions contributed to the harm inflicted upon marginalized communities. Their regret is just a reminder that these policies have far-reaching consequences, affecting people from all walks of life. And it's important to recognize that oppression and marginalization can have a ripple effect, ultimately impacting everyone, regardless of race or socioeconomic status. The silver lining is that these individuals are now acknowledging the harm caused by their own actions. And I don't know if regret is going to help in any way, but yeah, this is where we are at. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you, our viewers, have to say? Share your thoughts, your views, your contributions as well in the comment section. Thank you for always watching and see you in our next video as we bring you another video.